Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Raffy Gutierrez for another episode of Crossroads of Faith here in the channel Usapang Religion. So today I'm going to be doing actually a reaction on something that's been trending in social media now, which is the San Juan Fiesta or Festival, religious celebration of the feast of the patron saint of this city. And this particular city has a really strange celebration because this feast of their patron saint basically makes them pour water on people who are passing by the street. No, so it's basically a water wetting festival, if you want to call it. So the title for my talk this morning is why I firmly believe that religious festivals should either be contained or be banned altogether. Okay, so this might create very harsh reactions from adherents or those who are very much part of these festivals, these religious festivals. And to be honest, where this reaction is primarily coming from is the fact that most of these participants of these festivals don't really even know why they are there. Or if they are there, the reason why they are celebrating is either too shallow or really has no grounding on any logical, practical, and empirical basis. What do I mean? So let's start first with the San Juan Festival. Not only is it super impractical, the fact that it inconveniences the people who are passing through those streets because they are wet. They pour water on. Imagine, okay. There are two incidents that became popular that caused this trend. First was a delivery rider that was poured water on by supposedly a popular blogger in that area. And so he basically really had trouble after that because he was doing his job and it ended up all his stuff got wet because of that kid influencer who poured water on him, right? Second is worse. This single mom who spent her entire life building up to that point in her life where she was able to obtain the necessary documents, make the necessary plans to go for an interview that would allow her to finally find a job so she can feed her family. She was traversing that street where that water wetting thing was happening. And guess what? She begged the people who were pouring water to not pour water on her. And yet they still poured water on her so that she got wet. Her interview attire got wet. All her documents, the one that she took ages and countless tears, sweat, and blood to prepare, all got wet. All for what? All for what? Why do people have to partake in these extremely stupid, impractical, illogical, downright mind-bogglingly, trying not to make this conversation more colorful with the words I really wanted to use because obviously, but for the love of everything that is good, it's not like the Philippines is already we're not even out of the woods yet when it comes to being in a place in time in history, or in the realm of consciousness itself. The Philippines hasn't gotten to a point where we can say we are already out of the woods in terms of really becoming a country that will eventually be one of the leading economies, leading technological hubs, leading thought centers in the future. We have not gotten to the starting point yet. I think we are even digressing. Our country is going backwards, where everyone else in Southeast Asia is already on the world platform of saying of if you were part of that country, you can say, I am a proud Vietnamese, I am a proud Thai, I am a proud Malaysian, I am a proud Indonesian. What do we Filipinos have that we can say, I am a proud Filipino? Apart from really good dried mangoes that we produce in the South, and the overseas foreign workers who do the job of everybody else who won't, because back here at home, they cannot find jobs that can let them feed their families. So aside from OFWs, dried mangoes, and call center agents, what do we Filipinos have got going for ourselves? And what does this have to do with the topic today? We just love adding insult to injury. Here we are, trying to crawl out of the cave so we can see some light, and we continue throwing rocks and stones and sand to continue burying ourselves in the muddle. And try to understand the people who are usually part of these festivals are very politically charged, because these people, I call them the hegemons, or the uneducated minority, impoverished, free money, freeloaders, survive only because the middle class, who is minimum wage and above, the taxes that are automatically deducted from their salaries, are the ones feeding these people who have nothing better to do with their moronic, pitiful, and outright useless lives. And honestly, we cannot blame them. Because how does a moron know when to draw the line? I now call on the local government unit, the local mayor of that city of San Juan, to do something drastic about this useless, moronic, impractical religious festival. Because you have the power to contain these irrelevant creatures. They don't do anything. Most of these are probably drug addicts, just sitting in their houses all day, waiting for dole-outs from the government. And when these religious festivities that have dated back since time immemorial, from the time of the really unfortunate Spanish colonization, because obviously the Spaniards did not brought probably the worst tradition, which is the tradition of an ancient church that is totally insignificant at these times. And the only reason why it's still significant in the Philippines is because, unfortunately, again for the Filipinos, if you have the money, the only schools you can go to are usually from this particular utterly already passé religious church. And by the way, that particular festivity is festivity of this church I'm talking about. So the mayor of that town, of that city, should step up and make sure he contains these totally moronic, irrelevant creatures. So if they want to wet other people, they can wet themselves. But those who are not those who are trying to look, not those who are trying to look for work, those who are just passing by to get to where they're supposed to so that they can feed their families. We cannot expect chimpanzees and apes to contain themselves. So, somebody who understands has to do their part. It just really, really, really irks me to think how the Philippines is just really, we got double whammy. I mean, we have or triple whammy. We have such a broken, fallen culture, such a corrupt, incompetent, useless, moronic, idiotic government, and an utterly unenlightened, impractical, irrelevant religion. When you have those kinds of societal factors, what hope is there for a nation like the Philippines? You know, I am actually a very, you might find this hard to believe, but I am actually a very positive person. I am the type of person who, when I meet people for the first time, my first inclination is to trust them. But recently, I've become more distrustful, especially if it's a Filipino. But I usually try to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I always try to see the silver lining. But when I think of the Philippines, there's just no hope. There's absolutely no hope for this country. When we cannot do the most basic things, when we cannot, we are unable to take the first step towards the direction that we need to be in, so that there could be light, some trickle of light at the end of the tunnel. There is just the hope for us. You imagine if you were a person that's living on government dole-out and choose not to be a productive member of society by just sitting home all day, doing absolutely nothing. Don't cause harm to other people, because you have absolutely no right. If you are not working and you are depending on the government, the middle class's taxes to feed you, you have no right. Your life is forfeit. Your rights are completely forfeit. You have no right to even step on the street, because you should just stay home and rot there until you die. And then you have the audacity to go out and wet people who are trying to go to work because of your utterly stupid, moronic, idiotic, useless, irrelevant, impractical religious festival from the totally irrelevant, moronic, idiotic church. No, like another example, that other feast that happens every January, where these unconscious creatures participate in this festivity where they try to touch this black statue, hoping to gain some divine favor. And the kind of traffic, chaos, and garbage that's left behind in the wake of this feast makes you even wonder if the Philippines should have been populated by chimpanzees and apes and other animals, maybe you would have actually made it become more successful. No, like seriously. And here where I live in this city in Lipa, every May, another moronic, idiotic, irrelevant, impractical fiesta or feast to celebrate one whole month on loudspeakers from 6 in the evening until 8 in the evening. We are bombarded by the religious prayers of that irrelevant church. Like, can't even have a decent dinner because they have to make their prayers on loudspeakers that can be listened by across like 3 neighborhoods, kilometer away. Why? And I try to talk to the local, what would be the equivalent of like the sheriff's office here in the Philippines. And all they say, well, we can't do anything about it because it's a religious festival. Even if they're bothering everybody around, even if there are actually people who do not even subscribe or follow their religion. Just really, really, really useless. So I came to think about what should be done. It's very simple. Either completely ban these religious fiestas, which is not, I think, possible. But if we cannot ban them, at least contain them. Put these totally brainless creatures who practice these totally impractical, irrelevant fiestas in like a field. Better if they like water, just send them to the sea and leave them there. Especially that very deep part where the sharks are. They like water anyway. Because really, I mean, if everybody who's just waiting on the government rollout just disappeared, imagine where that money can go, right? Maybe the people who are trying to work or trying to make this country better could be helped. Why isn't the government helping the people putting money in their coffers? Why is the government giving money to the people who just keep dragging this country down? I cannot wrap my finger around it. Anyway, so I think my rant has dragged on long enough, but thank you for listening this far. And I hope that whoever gets to listen to this video not only shares it, but sees the magnitude of how how deep the problem is in the Philippines. And it's more than the government, it's really the broken culture caused by that very, very old church that it's not paid taxes, by the way, in spite of the fact that it has billions in its coffers here in the Philippines. What is it doing with the billions anyway? So I'll end my talk here. This is Raffy Gutierrez. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you in advance for the comments and for liking and for sharing. Have a good day and gosh.